Hey, what's up, you guys? So I wanted to jump on and talk about this story out of Louisiana that I have become fascinated with. You know that the horrible tragedy of Hurricane Katrina was just a few days ago. The 20th anniversary was on August the 29th. And this story happened during that whole period, that whole time. So it's between Zach and Addie. Addie was from North Carolina, which is of course my home state, and Zach was from California, and they met in Louisiana and became this power couple during all of the Katrina mess. So they say that Addie was fiery, she was independent, she was an artist, she was a dancer, she wrote poetry, and she was just really into her thing, and she knew exactly who she was. However, she came from a very bad upbringing. She came out of an abusive relationship, which is actually part of the reason why or how she ended up in Louisiana to get away from the abusive ex that she was with. Zach was from Bakersfield, California. He was born in 1978, and he moved to Louisiana to kind of get away from the depression that he was feeling in California. Everyone says he was a great guy. He always had a smile on his face. He was kind of like a people pleaser. He was super tall. He liked to crack jokes and just get everyone laughing. He was a little insecure about his height, so he figured that he would deflect everyone by just cracking jokes and just kind of being the class clown and just being super popular. Everyone seemed to love Zach. Zach actually moved to Louisiana with his dad because he wanted to get out of that depression. But unfortunately, when he started to kind of better himself, his dad was just kind of out of the picture. He pulled himself out. His dad wasn't really interested in being a parent. He wanted more to be like liked by his kids, by his son. He wanted to be more of a friend. So when Zach started to pay more attention to his studies and wanted to go back to school and just to better himself, his dad pulled away, and left him in Louisiana at 17 years old. Shortly after his dad left, and he was around 18 at this time, 17, 18 around this time, he met his first wife. He also became a bartender at this time to make some money and to keep things going and just to do the best that he could. He also met his first wife. She worked there, and her name was Lana, or her name is Lana, and they hit it off immediately. There were fireworks, and she said that the relationship quickly sped up, and she found herself to be pregnant shortly after their initial meeting with their first child. So now he has a kid on the way. And another thing, she had no idea that he was only 18 years old because she herself was 28, 10 years his senior. So the only thing that he knew to do was to join the military, join the army. He wanted to make sure that he can provide for his kids because she was going to have another one. They had two kids together. So he wanted to make sure that his kids had a good upbringing, good insurance and benefits and all of that good stuff. So while he was in the army, he served two tours, one in Iraq and one somewhere else. I can't remember where it was, but and it's mostly because of this point right here. It was such a major event. So of course, he saw, unfortunately, some of his friends get killed while serving his tours and doing it. But he also became friends with one of the Iraqi kids. And once it was found out by that kid's neighborhood and community that he had befriended someone from America, that child and his entire family was massacred. And it took a major toll on Zach. He actually fell into an even deeper depression and started to suffer from survivor's guilt. And it kind of escalated from there, especially after seeing one of his best friends being blown up in a car. It was just hitting him from everywhere. So after all of that, and after he survived the tours, he was actually able to get a general discharge, which saying that he didn't do anything to get kicked out of the army. He might have had a few disciplinary things that happened, but he was able to be generally discharged and be okay, have his full benefits, and just continue to live his life. He wouldn't have to serve anymore. And that's when he moved back to Louisiana. He became a bartender again and just, trying to get his life back together, trying to pick up the pieces, but he had started to drink even heavier, to kind of mask down and hold down everything. And then he met Addie. Addie walks in. She works the shift after him. He would often stay later, after his shift had ended, just so he could spend time with Addie and just kind of help her out and get to know her. She was not feeling him at all in the beginning. She tried to just ignore him and just kept doing her thing, but he kept cracking jokes. He said he was handsome, he was smart, he was funny, so he knew he could get her. Eventually, he could wear her down. And he did exactly that. They had drinks one night after her shift, and it just kind of spiraled from there, or went up from there. It was hot and heavy, it was intense, and it was a beautiful thing for both of them. They both kind of needed each other at that time and definitely fed off of each other. Was it healthy? Hell no. So they were together during Katrina and all of that happened. But during Katrina, like when everyone was trying to pick up the pieces, they kind of became pillars of the whole community. And they were in the New York Times. They became kind of famous. Became known as a power couple. They were helping to rebuild everyone up. They were serving drinks. They were making food. You know, they were doing as much as they could to help others, and it got them a lot of notoriety. His ex-wife actually saw that he was on the news because she had been looking for him. She hadn't heard from him. She had actually called him right before Katrina hit and tried to get him to come down and spend the time with her and their kids, because she was afraid. She didn't know what to do. She was on her own, and she had these two young kids with her, and she asked him to come down, and he said no, even though she said that he could also bring Addie. But he just wanted to spend that time with Addie and just focus on that. So this pissed his wife off. So she hadn't heard from him since that day. So she had been looking for him and everything, because she didn't know if he had died, where he was. He could have been buried under some water, under some buildings. She didn't know. But she did this search one day, and she saw that he was in the newspaper just grilling and having drinks and just having a great old time. So she was flabbergasted by this and called him, and he just acted like nothing had ever happened and was like, yeah, I'm okay. When can I see the kids? And she was like, hell no. Okay, no sir. So anyway, during Katrina, they became this power couple. But shortly after Katrina had ended and the community really started to come together, light started to come back on, and life started to return back to normal, shit kind of hit the fan for them, and they were no longer able to mask the pain, the deception, and everything that was going on behind closed doors. So the fight started to get more intense. They started to do more alcohol, more drugs, and Addie found out that Zach actually cheated on her with another guy. Zach was bisexual, and Addie didn't know this, and Addie hated this. So she caused this huge fight. She tried to get him kicked out of the apartment, tried to get the landlord to take him off of the lease that they now shared, that they had moved together into. She tried to get him kicked off of it. He wasn't having it, so he came home, he found out, and he kind of lost it. And they got into this huge fight in the apartment. And unfortunately, this is when Zach strangled Addie. He strangled her. He went to sleep. He slept beside her body. He woke up. He performed sexual things on her while she was deceased. He went to work that morning, came back. He told his friends that he was going to leave Louisiana. He was about to pack up and go. He spent the next 2 weeks just living his life. Well, actually, I'm skipping a part. After 2 or 3 days, he actually started to cut Addie's body up in the bathtub to, clean up easier. So he did that. He put her body in the bathtub, cut her up. He started to put her body on top of the stove and stove pots, started to cook her head. He cut her hair, put her head in the pot, started to boil it. He put her legs and arms in a pan in the oven, started to roast it, saved her torso, put it in the refrigerator to save it for later. What he was trying to do was separate the bone from the flesh so he could easily dispose of her body. So this whole time, her friends are calling and trying to figure out, where the hell is Addie at? We haven't seen her in weeks. And he just tells them that they broke up. She up and left and moved back to North Carolina. And some people were like, that doesn't sound like something she would do. She wouldn't just up and leave here because she loves NOLA. She loves Louisiana. She actually used to call herself a Puerto Rican, which was someone who was like, was a staple within the French quarters. So she was a Puerto Rican. She wasn't just going to up and leave. But at the same time, they would also say like, this is kind of something that she would do. She would just up and leave because she was just kind of that person. She felt like she would run away from something that she had no control over it. You know what I mean? So she would just up and leave and go back to North Carolina. So people were very conflicted with that. But her very close friend that she worked at the bar with, that she called mama, and then the mama called her daughter. They had a really great relationship. She would say that when she first heard that, she knew that she was dead, because Addie used to come into the bar with black eyes, with scars on her, with marks on her, and Addie would tell her manager, who was her mama, that it's because of what Zach was doing to her when they got drunk. When they got drunk, things just escalated, and they both just never backed down. So on October the 17th, this is such a heavy story. So on October 17th, it's about 2 weeks after he had killed her. He killed her on October the 5th. So this is October the 17th. Zach actually ends his own life after having 2 weeks of just having random sex with strippers, smoking as much as he could, drinking as much as he could, doing as much drugs as he could, spending as much of his money that he had left. Done. Like, he just wanted to go out, give it one last hoorah, and just be out of it. Okay? So he actually ended his own life, and he left a note in his pocket in a Ziploc bag. He left a note to the officers and to his family. He left his dog tag, and he also left Addie's keys. On the letter, he would say that he had to take his life because he took a life. And then he would also explain how sorry he was, how much he loved her, and how much he needed help. He didn't want to do what he did. And he also left notes around the house, around the apartment, like written in black on the wall, telling them like, look here, or don't look here, or tell me how to end the pain, like different stuff like that. Like, it was a bizarre scene. You guys can Google it and look it up for yourselves. I would definitely have some pictures in this video as well, but it was just a bizarre scene. But everyone was just flabbergasted by what had happened, because Zach was such a well-liked person. They say that he was kind of quiet sometimes, but he would always mask the pain and the trauma that he had gone through, the PTSD. He suffered from severe PTSD, severe depression, and he was just not in a good place mentally. On top of the drugs and alcohol, on top of now killing his girlfriend, someone that he said that he loved, and it was just a sad situation. A sad situation. Addie's friends, of course, expressed remorse and a little bit of guilt for not stepping in and saving her before all of this went on. But who knows what's really going on behind closed doors, you know. And Addie, she kept going back to him. They kept working it out. But this last time, the relationship with the man, and also coupled that with him cheating on her, was the final straw for her. And when she found that out, she was just, it was a wrap, you know. She was done with him. She was breaking up with him, and she called him all kinds of names, like homosexual names. And she actually also called everyone in his phone and told them that he had AIDS. And I guess him just hearing and seeing this and witnessing this, and then dealing with all of the other stuff that he was dealing with on top of the drugs and alcohol, he just snapped that night and took her life. You know, no excuse, absolutely no excuse. But he definitely had some mental issues going on that needed to be resolved, and he needed help. I think they both needed help. So yeah, so what brought me to this is that they say that this place where they lived was a voodoo temple, and could have had something to do with it, the whole energy and everything that's in it. But they say now that it's definitely haunted, and people have made a lot of reports speaking about seeing Addie's ghost on the balcony, Addie's ghost in the kitchen, like all around the house and things like that. They say now that it's haunted, and I definitely want to go and visit it. But I wanted to share that with you guys. I know you guys may have heard that story before, but when I came across it, it just blew my mind that all of that went down, and it's in Louisiana, which is home for me, you know. So I definitely want to go and visit it. I would love to take you guys with me. Please don't forget to share and like and comment. Let me know what you think of this story, if you've heard of this story before, and I will see you guys very soon. All right? Peace out.